colossal squid was filmed swimming in the Southern Ocean for the first time. A fish thought extinct for 70 million years was finally photographed, and a shark species was filmed far south of its usual range. These are more sea creatures believed to be extinct caught on camera. News of this just came out a few months back. Scientists finally filmed a colossal squid in its own habitat for the very first time. Not a washed up carcass or something snagged by accident, but a living juvenile cruising through the Southern Ocean near the Sandwich Islands, about 2,000 feet down. Kat Ballstead, a squid researcher at Auckland University of Technology, confirmed the footage and said, "This is the first confirmed footage of the colossal squid at home in the deep sea. This is honestly one of the most exciting observations we've had," end quote. Now, the squid they caught on camera was only about a foot long, but adults can reach up to 23 feet and weigh over 1,100 pounds, making them the biggest invertebrate on Earth. Their eyes alone are massive, about the size of a soccer ball. Squid expert Aaron Evans actually said he started hyperventilating when he saw the footage come through. For good reason too. Most of what we know about colossal squid comes from dead ones, pulled up by fishing nets or from pieces found inside sperm whale stomachs. Kat Ballstead explained why they've been so elusive, saying, "They know we're there long before we know they're there. They are actively avoiding us." This is a photograph of a coelacanth taken in Indonesia for the first time. This is the Indonesian coelacanth, a species scientists believed had gone extinct for 70 million years. Marine biologist Alexis Chapuis spotted it while diving in the Mollusc archipelago about 475 feet below the surface. Back in 1938, a coelacanth was pulled up in a fishing net off South Africa, and it was described as one of the biggest natural history discoveries of the 20th century. Since then, sightings have been rare. In 2013, Laurent Balesta managed to photograph wild coelacanths in Sodwana Bay, South Africa, but that was the other known species. The Indonesian coelacanth is different. Researchers are keeping the exact dive location secret for now because the fish are so sensitive to changes in their environment. They don't want people flocking to the area to try and spot one themselves, let alone trying to haul them out of the water. In 2015, researchers studying underwater volcanoes near the Solomon Islands ended up filming something they weren't even looking for: a massive shark that wasn't supposed to be there. Brandon Phillips, a PhD student at the University of Rhode Island, had been dropping baited cameras called drop cams into the deep sea to check out life near an active volcano called Cavachi. One of those cameras went down over 3,000 feet and came back with a bit of a surprise. When the team downloaded nearly 8 hours of footage, they spotted what looked like a giant brown blob in one of the thumbnails. Phillips said, "Both of us looked at each other and said, we gotta look at that thumbnail right now." When they opened the file, they started yelling. They just filmed a sleeper shark, something nobody expected to see that far south. "We were freaking out," Phillips said. Experts later said the shark was probably a Pacific sleeper shark. And if that's the case, it means this was the farthest south anyone had ever seen a Pacific sleeper shark. Sleeper sharks are rarely filmed alive at all. They usually live deep, can grow over 20 feet long, and decompose quickly when brought up, so they're pretty hard to study. In November of 2021, researchers at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute were out with their ROV called Doc Ricketts when they came across a giant phantom jelly. Very, very rare sight. It showed up almost a kilometer underwater in Monterey Bay. Its bell alone is over 3 feet wide, and then it trails 4 long arms that can stretch more than 30 feet. It's massive. Now, MBARI has done thousands of dives. They've only ever spotted this jelly a small handful of times. In fact, since the species was first collected back in 1899, there have maybe been 100 confirmed encounters worldwide. It seems to live all over the planet, in every ocean except the Arctic, but because it lives so deep down, it basically stays hidden from us. Before we had high-tech cameras, scientists tried to study creatures like this using trawl nets. That worked for fish and squid, but with jellies, it was basically useless. They just turn into mush. Now with ROVs shooting high definition, even 4K video, we're finally seeing the phantom jelly the way it actually looks in its natural habitat. Back in 2000, Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute's ROV Tiburon was out exploring the deep off Monterey Bay when researchers saw something they couldn't really place. Nobody knew what to call it, so they just nicknamed it the mystery mollusk. Over the next 20 years, MBARI kept spotting it more than 150 times, and finally, after a lot of work in the lab, they confirmed it's actually a brand new kind of sea slug called this. And this thing lives in the midnight zone, thousands of feet down. Unlike most sea slugs that crawl on the seafloor, this one kind of swims in open water. To eat, it uses that giant hood-like thing on its head, almost like a Venus flytrap, snapping it shut on its tiny prey. It's also bioluminescent. Researchers even saw it detach one glowing finger-type thing from its tail as a decoy to confuse predators. When we first filmed it glowing with the ROV, everyone in the control room let out a loud "ooh" at the same time, said scientist Stephen Haddock. DNA tests also showed that it's so different from other sea slugs, it's enough to get its own separate group in the sea slug family tree. As MBARI's Bruce Robinson put it, our discovery is a new piece of the puzzle that can help better understand the largest habitat on Earth. The ruby sea dragon wasn't officially identified until 2015, which is crazy, because that made it the first new sea dragon discovered in 150 years. Washed up specimen had actually been found back in 2007, about 9 inches long, but nobody realized it was a whole new species until later. Unlike the leafy or common sea dragons that have those long decorative frills, the ruby sea dragon looks a little plainer, with short, stumpy lobes. The name comes from its color, obviously bright red. Scientists think that's not just for show. In deeper water, red light, it disappears fast, which actually makes red animals harder to see, so it works kind of like camouflage. That explains why these guys managed to stay hidden for so long, plus they live deeper than most divers can safely go, which meant no one had ever filmed one alive until 2016. That year, researchers used a remote underwater camera up the coast of Western Australia and finally caught one on video. And the footage was published in 2017. One of the weirdest parts of this animal is its tail. Unlike other sea dragons, the ruby sea dragon has a prehensile tail. Basically, it can grab onto things like a chameleon does. Last year, a team of international scientists just blew the lid off one of the most unexplored areas of the ocean. During a Schmidt Ocean Institute expedition to the Salas by Gomez Ridge, a remote range of underwater mountains stretching from Chile to Rapa Nui, they discovered 160 species that hadn't been recorded in the region before, and they think at least 50 of those might be completely new to science. This campaign found between 50 and 60 potentially new species at first sight, a number that is likely to increase, as we have many samples to work on in the laboratory, said one of the lead researchers from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. The team documented everything from deep-sea corals and sponges to squids, crabs, and fish. The 40-day expedition included 25 scientists from 5 countries, plus the first Rapa Nui marine biologist, Amelia Ra'apalmatuki. Plesiosaur is one of those creatures everyone's been, of course told is long gone, but stories about it keep popping up. For over 100 years, people have claimed to see long-necked flippered animals in lakes and oceans all over the world. Loch Ness in Scotland, Lake Champlain in Vermont, even off the coast of Japan, and we're not talking about tourists who just want a good story, not always anyway. Some seasoned sailors and fishermen will also swear they saw something out there. Probably the wildest case was in 1977 when a Japanese fishing boat pulled up this decaying carcass near New Zealand. The thing had a long neck, flippers, and looked eerily like a plesiosaur. Scientists just said it was a decomposing basking shark. Others weren't so sure. The resemblance was just a little too on the nose. This is a Megamouth shark that was spotted off Indonesia. This species is very rarely seen. People didn't even know it existed until 1976. They can grow up to 18 feet long and feed by filtering plankton through their huge mouths. Megamouths live so deep that almost all footage of them comes from deep-sea submersibles, or accidentally they get caught in fishing nets. The Megamouth shark was discovered totally by accident in 1976. Unlike most sharks that chase and bite, the Megamouth just cruises along with its mouth open, scooping up tiny plankton and jellyfish, almost like a whale. It's such a strange way to feed for a shark, and again, no one had ever seen one until a random encounter with a US Navy ship's anchor line, and since then, only a handful have ever been spotted. About 6 years ago, Ocean X managed something that had never been done before. They tagged this blunt-nosed six-gill shark straight from a submersible, no bringing it to the surface first. Now, these sharks are living fossils. They've been around long before most dinosaurs existed, and they barely ever show up on camera. So this footage you're looking at here is almost like catching a glimpse of what the deep waters of Earth looked like hundreds of millions of years ago. That said, I've been your host James, and I will catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.